I was babysitting my friend's kid when a woman tried to break in, claiming to be his mom. Then I checked the caller ID, and my blood ran cold. I never considered myself the type of person to get involved in other people's business. I kept to myself, focused on my work, and had a small but solid group of friends. But last summer, I found myself at the center of something so bizarre, so twisted, that I still can't fully wrap my head around it. It all started when my coworker, Emily, asked if I could babysit her nephew for a weekend. Her sister Claire and Claire's husband Matt were going on a couples retreat, and their usual sitter had bailed at the last minute. I wasn't exactly a kids person, but I figured watching a 6-year-old for 2 days couldn't be that hard. Plus, they were paying me really well, almost too well for just a weekend. When I arrived at their house on Friday evening, Claire and Matt were already rushing out the door. Claire barely looked at me as she handed over a long list of rules. No sugar after 6 p.m., no electronics past 8, no answering the landline unless it was an emergency. Matt, on the other hand, gave me an apologetic smile, saying, "Thanks again for this. We really needed a break." Something about the way he said it felt off. Their house was huge, the kind of suburban mansion you'd expect from a wealthy family who cared about appearances. Everything was in perfect order, almost too perfect. The living room looked like it had never been used, the dining table was perfectly set despite no one being home for dinner, and even the toys in the kids' room seemed strategically placed rather than played with. Their son, Ethan, was surprisingly quiet for a 6-year-old. He played with his Legos, watched a little TV, and went to bed without any trouble. But around 11 p.m., as I was scrolling through my phone in the living room, I heard something strange. A faint beep. At first, I thought it was a smoke detector or some appliance, but then I realized it was coming from the landline. It beeped again. I hesitated for a second, remembering Claire's rule about not answering it. But curiosity got the best of me. I walked over, picked up the receiver, and pressed it to my ear. For a moment, there was only silence. Then a woman's voice whispered, "Is he gone?" I froze. "Hello," I said, my heart hammering. "Is he gone?" "It's me, Samantha. Tell me if it's safe." I didn't know what to say. I had no idea who Samantha was. But before I could respond, I heard something else. A soft click. Someone had just picked up another line in the house. And that's when I knew. I wasn't alone. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. My pulse pounded so hard in my ears that for a second, I thought I imagined it. But no. The soft click had been real. Someone else had picked up the phone. Someone else was listening. I gripped the receiver so tightly my knuckles turned white. The woman, Samantha, was still on the other end, whispering anxiously, "Hello, are you there?" Then, click. The call disconnected. A cold chill spread through my chest. I stood there, gripping the phone, my mind racing. The house was supposed to be empty except for me and Ethan. I had checked all the rooms, locked the doors. Unless... I turned my head slowly, scanning the room. The only sound was the hum of the refrigerator from the kitchen. The only movement was the faint sway of the curtains from the AC vent. I needed to check on Ethan. I placed the phone down as quietly as I could and crept up the stairs, every step making the old wood groan beneath me. I hesitated outside Ethan's door, listening. Silence. I pushed it open just enough to see inside. Ethan was asleep, curled up under his blankets, his small chest rising and falling. Relief washed over me for a split second, until I saw the closet door. It was open. I was sure it had been shut earlier. A strange metallic taste filled my mouth. I knew I was being paranoid, but something in my gut told me to check. Slowly, I crossed the room, stepping carefully so I wouldn't wake Ethan. My fingers trembled as I reached for the handle. I yanked it open. Nothing. Just neatly folded clothes, a few toys, and a pile of stuffed animals stacked in the corner. I let out a shaky breath. Maybe I was imagining things. Maybe I was just on edge from the phone call. I shut the closet and left Ethan's room, making sure to leave the door slightly open so I could hear him if he woke up. I made my way back downstairs, but now the house felt different. The perfect, pristine order of everything wasn't comforting anymore. It was unsettling. Who the hell was Samantha? And who else had picked up the phone? I grabbed my own phone from the coffee table and pulled up Claire's number, my fingers shaking as I typed out a text. Hey, I just got a weird call on your landline. A woman named Samantha. Do you know who that is? I stared at the screen, waiting for the three dots to appear, but nothing. Then a noise, a soft creak from upstairs. I whipped my head around, my breath catching in my throat. Ethan was asleep. There was no one else up there, but I had definitely heard footsteps. I stood frozen in the living room, my heart hammering. I needed to be rational. Maybe it was just the house settling. Maybe Ethan had rolled over in bed and made the mattress squeak. Then my phone buzzed. Claire's name lit up the screen. A message. I tapped it open, expecting a casual, "Oh, don't worry, that's just my friend," or maybe even a wrong number. But what I saw made my blood run cold. "Do not answer the phone. Get Ethan and leave. Right now." My entire body went numb. Claire's text sat on my screen, the words burning into my brain. "Do not answer the phone. Get Ethan and leave. Right now." I swallowed hard, my mouth suddenly dry. Then another message came through. "Don't call. Don't text. Just go." The hairs on the back of my neck stood up. My hands were slick with sweat, my breathing shallow. I didn't waste time asking questions. I grabbed my keys from the counter and sprinted up the stairs two at a time. Ethan was still asleep, his tiny body curled up under his blanket. He looked so peaceful, so unaware that something was very, very wrong. I knelt beside him, shaking his shoulder gently. "Ethan," I whispered. "Hey, buddy, we have to go." He groaned and burrowed deeper into the covers. Don't wanna." My heart pounded in my chest. "Come on, kid," I urged, trying to keep my voice calm. "We're gonna go on a little adventure, okay?" He finally opened his eyes, blinking at me sleepily. "Where's Mommy?" She's coming," I lied. "But we need to go first. Right now." I pulled back the covers and lifted him into my arms. He was heavier than I expected, his warm little body limp with sleep. I adjusted my grip and turned toward the door. And then I heard it. A floorboard creaked. Not from inside the room, from the hallway. I froze. My breath caught in my throat. The hallway was dark, the only light coming from a dim nightlight near the stairs. But I knew. I knew someone was standing just out of sight, watching us. I tightened my grip on Ethan. My legs felt like jelly, but I forced myself to move. Slow, steady steps toward the door. I reached out, grabbed the knob, and then, from the darkness, a voice. Low, calm, too calm. "You shouldn't be here." I didn't think. I didn't hesitate. I slammed the door shut and locked it. Ethan let out a little yelp of surprise. "What's wrong?" "Shh," I whispered. I backed away, scanning the room for anything I could use as a weapon. A lamp? A toy? My mind was spinning. Then, bang. The door handle twisted violently. I jumped back, clutching Ethan to my chest. Bang, bang. Whoever was on the other side was trying to get in. I had to do something. I grabbed the nightstand and dragged it in front of the door. Then I snatched my phone from my pocket and dialed 911 with shaking hands. The line rang once, twice, then a voice. 911, what's your emergency?" I pressed the phone to my ear, my voice barely above a whisper. "There's someone in the house," I gasped. "They're trying to get in." The operator's tone stayed calm. "Are you in a safe location?" I looked down at Ethan, his big brown eyes filled with confusion. "Number, we're trapped in the bedroom." "Stay on the line. Officers are on their way." Bang, bang. Then, silence. The door handle stopped rattling. The house went eerily quiet. I strained to hear, my own heartbeat pounding in my ears. Then, something even worse. A voice. Muffled. Coming from the other side of the door. It was a woman's voice this time. "Let me in." Not banging, not forcing, just asking. Software. Pleasant, like she was trying to coax a child out of hiding. "Ethan, sweetie, it's okay. Open the door for me." Ethan stiffened in my arms. His little fingers gripped my shirt. That's when I realized something. His whole body was trembling. "Ethan," I whispered, "do you know who that is?" He nodded. His lip quivered. My stomach dropped. Then he whispered back, "That's not my mom." I felt like the floor had dropped out from under me. Ethan's little voice echoed in my head, chilling me to my core. That's not my mom. The woman outside the door spoke again, her voice unnervingly soft. Come on, sweetheart, I just want to see you. Number. No, no, no. I held Ethan tighter, stepping back as if distance could somehow keep us safer. My mind was racing. If that wasn't Claire, then who the hell was it? The door handle jiggled again, this time gently, almost playfully. Then a giggle, a light, breathy, wrong giggle. I covered Ethan's ears. The 911 operator was still on the line. Ma'am, are you still there? I forced myself to speak, my voice a shaky whisper. She's pretending to be his mom. She's outside the door. A brief silence, then, stay put. Officers are 3 minutes away. 3 minutes. That was too long. The woman spoke again. You don't have to be scared, she cooed. I know you're in there. I just want to talk. Then she did something that nearly made my heart stop. She laughed again. But this time, it was different. It changed. It shifted. It wasn't just some random woman's voice anymore. It was Claire's voice. Ethan, sweetie, it's Mommy. Open the door, baby. I felt like I was going to throw up. Ethan whimpered, burying his face in my shoulder. She's lying, he whispered. She always lies. What the hell? I pressed my hand over Ethan's head, trying to shield him, trying to think. She always lies? What did that mean? The door handle stopped moving. The hallway went dead silent. Then, a soft scratching sound. Slow, deliberate, like nails dragging against the wood. I clenched my teeth to keep from screaming. Then, out of nowhere, help, please, let me in. A woman's voice, a real scream, sudden, desperate, panicked. Then more banging, fists slamming against the door. He's coming, please open the door. Ethan whimpered in fear. I stared at the door, my whole body trembling. I knew what this was. It was a trick, and I wasn't falling for it. The banging stopped. Silence again. Then, a whisper. So close to the door, I could almost feel the breath on the other side. Smart girl. I nearly dropped my phone. I backed away, my hands shaking, my stomach twisting into knots. Ethan was gripping my shirt so tightly his little fingers dug into my skin. Then, finally, sirens, the sound of salvation. Flashing red and blue lights flickered through the bedroom window. Doors slamming. Heavy footsteps on the pavement. A man's voice shouted, Police! Come out with your hands up! I exhaled sharply, my knees nearly buckling. There was no more whispering, no more banging, no more giggling, just silence. Then, a loud crash downstairs like someone had shattered a window. Then footsteps, fast, heavy footsteps running out of the house. Ma'am, the 911 operator said urgently, officers are entering the residence. Stay where you are. I nodded even though she couldn't see me. The next few minutes were a blur. Shouts from the cops, the sound of doors being kicked open, a voice yelling, clear, over and over. Finally, someone knocked on our door. A real knock. Police, you can come out now. I didn't move right away. My whole body was stiff, frozen. What if it was another trick? Then a second voice called out, deeper, steadier. Ma'am, it's Officer Reynolds. You're safe now. I finally let out a shaky breath. I shifted Ethan in my arms, my legs nearly buckling under me as I reached for the lock. My fingers fumbled, shaking uncontrollably, but I finally got it open. When I pulled the door open, 2 officers stood in the hallway, one older with graying hair and the other younger, probably in his 30s. Officer Reynolds, the older one, gave me a reassuring nod. You okay? I swallowed. Who was that? His jaw tightened. We're not sure yet. We found signs of forced entry downstairs. Whoever it was ran before we could catch them. My stomach dropped. My voice broke. I had so many questions. She pretended to be his mom. She sounded like his mom. Officer Reynolds exchanged a look with his partner. The younger officer exhaled sharply. You should come downstairs. There's something you need to see. I didn't want to. Every bone in my body screamed at me to just get Ethan and run. But I had to know. I carried Ethan downstairs, his little arms still wrapped around my neck. My legs felt like jelly with every step. The house looked wrong, like it had been disturbed. The pristine, perfect living room was now off. A chair knocked over, a cabinet door hanging open. The police had their flashlights out, scanning every corner. Then I saw it. The landline phone still sitting on the counter. The young officer pointed at it. "Look at the caller ID." I frowned, stepping closer. Then my stomach dropped. The last incoming call. The one from earlier. It wasn't from a phone number. It wasn't from a blocked ID. It was just one word. Home. I stared at the caller ID, my breath shallow. Home. Not a number, not a name, just home. A strange, hollow feeling settled in my chest. The room felt colder, like the walls were pressing in. What? What does that mean? I whispered. The officers didn't answer right away. Officer Reynolds just exhaled through his nose, like he'd seen something like this before. The younger cop shifted on his feet, glancing at his partner. Reynolds finally spoke. "We're still figuring that out." That wasn't comforting. I tightened my grip on Ethan, feeling his little hands still clutching my shirt. His face was buried against my shoulder, and I could feel his soft, steady breaths. One of the officers radioed something back to dispatch. The other turned to me. "Do you have someone you can stay with tonight? Somewhere safe?" Safe. The word felt almost foreign now. I nodded, my mind already racing. Claire. I needed to call Claire. I pulled out my phone and scrolled to her number. My hands were shaking so badly I nearly dropped the phone. I hit call. The line rang once, twice. Then she picked up. "Hello?" Her voice was hoarse, like she'd been crying. "Claire?" My voice cracked. "What the hell is going on?" A shaky exhale. "Are you okay? Is Ethan okay?" I looked down at him. His big brown eyes were staring at me now, tired and confused. "We're fine," I said, though I wasn't sure that was true. "The cops are here. But, Claire, what was that? Who was she?" Silence. Then quietly, "I don't know." A chill ran down my spine. "What do you mean you don't know?" I pressed. She sounded like you, Claire. She knew Ethan's name. She called your house phone. What aren't you telling me?" Another long pause. Then finally, "We've had things happen before." My stomach twisted. "What kind of things?" Shuffling on the other end of the line. Claire's breath hitched. "She's been here before," she whispered. "A few times. We never saw her, but we heard her. At first it was just small things. Doors left open, furniture moved, Ethan talking to someone when no one was there." My heart pounded. "You knew something was wrong, and you still left him here?" She let out a broken laugh. "We thought we were going crazy. We didn't know what to do. And then the phone calls started." My fingers curled around the edge of the counter. She would call the house late at night, always whispering. Claire's voice wavered. She never spoke when we answered, just listened. And then, one night, she finally said something. I swallowed hard. What did she say? Another silence. Then, "She said she was home." A shiver ran down my spine. I turned, scanning the house, the windows, the dark corners, the hallway leading to the stairs. I suddenly hated this place. The officers were still talking in low voices, discussing the intruder, but the word intruder felt wrong. This wasn't some random break-in. This wasn't normal. I forced myself to breathe. "Claire, what do I do?" Her voice was barely above a whisper. "Get out of there, and don't come back." I didn't need to be told twice. I turned to Officer Reynolds. "I need to go." He studied me for a second, then nodded. "We'll escort you out." I grabbed Ethan's small backpack from the couch, still clutching him tightly as we walked toward the front door. The night air was cold against my skin as I stepped outside. The street was filled with flashing lights, officers talking into radios, neighbors peeking out of their houses. I didn't look back. As I reached my car, Ethan finally spoke. "Where are we going?" He mumbled sleepily. "Somewhere safe," I told him. He was quiet for a moment. Then, in a small voice, "Do you think she'll follow us?" A lump formed in my throat. I forced a smile, even though I felt anything but calm. "Nobody. We're safe now." It was a lie, but I needed to believe it. I buckled Ethan into his seat, got in the car, and drove away without looking in the rearview mirror because I already knew. There was nothing there, but I also knew something else. She'd be back, and next time she might not knock.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit notifications, and if you like this video, press like button. See you in next Deep Reddit videos.